That is an understatement. The memes out there about 2021 have just been vicious
Man.
compared to 2020. They were like, at 2021 looking at 2020 like you're just a baby.
Child's play, pandemic, election. I got Proud Boys and ammo.
That's right. Straight up insurrection.
Shoot, talk to me about that.
I hear you.
Hey, folks, good morning. It's the Power Hour brought to you every morning. Well, almost every morning, Monday through Friday. We
Hmm.
take off Saturday and Sunday, but every Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. for right now. Trying to negotiate to start at 2 a.m.
No, we're not. No, we're not.
Yeah, we'll be doing that along with our other job at Dunkin' Donuts, making donuts early in the morning. That would be kind of dope, wouldn't it?
No.
Making donuts and
Oh, you
just like
talking about
talk.
doing the show from Dunkin' Donuts? Oh, yeah,
Wow,
that'd be great.
yeah, free coffee and donuts. What are you talking about? Like no downside. We'd be like wired all day.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You're 100% correct on that.
Yeah, but listen, we're here each and every day, and sitting across from me is Bishop Dwayne David Reister.
And sitting across from me is the Reverend Dr. Mark Kelly Tyler.
And holding it all down is the latest person to finish watching Bridgerton,
Oh,
Kawesa.
Well, good
Louisa.
morning. Rev, how come the time just keeps getting earlier and earlier? First it was 5, now it's 2.
24 hours. We're going to have a 24-hour show. All right, we'll give you 1 hour off.
No,
It'll be
he's
20.
going to have a 24-hour show. I'll jump on at 5 or 6, but he's going to have a 24-hour
Me too, 5 or 6.
We'll
6
do a
o'clock.
23-hour lockdown.
Oh,
That's been on my mind because the clip I've been playing. So I've been going to a bunch of my like go-to movie clips. I'm a big movie fan.
mhm,
So this last week is just kind of made me think of a bunch of movies.
mhm.
So you got to go look at the last few minutes of the movie Training Day with Denzel.
Yes.
After he gets shot in the butt and the crowd turns on him, and he's standing there bloodied after he got beat down by the rookie.
Hmm.
He looks at the crowd and says, I'm putting cases on all of y'all. Shoe program. 23-hour lockdown.
Lord have mercy.
Yeah, man, I tell you, there's a whole lot of folk about to get that shoe program.
Mm.
Pelican Bay.
Oh, man. I haven't seen Pelican Bay in years.
Putting cases on y'all. It's a place. No, I'm just saying. It's like, this is real. I mean, listen, so you have two crowds right now, right?
Hmm.
You got the crowd that went into the Capitol and felt good about themselves and are planning more acts to, I don't know. I don't know if they really honestly think they're going to overturn this election, but whatever. It's your freedom. It's your freedom to express yourself, right? Until you cross a line.
Hmm.
Then there's the group that crossed the line and went into that building and
Hmm.
are now finding out that there is a real price to pay.
Hmm.
And some of them are crying like babies. Like I said, the guy from Boise yesterday, as I said on air, was, before, the judge saying, I just got caught up. That's not who I am. I'm a nice guy. I'm not supposed to do 10 years in prison. And there's a lot of that. And so what now the do not fly list is growing because
Oh,
what
okay.
what they've discovered is that kind of like when you go into the Capitol and beat up Capitol Police and then beat one to death, that makes you, a part of a large act of domestic terrorism, hence a domestic terrorist.
That's right.
And people don't trust you on airplanes. Don't ask me why.
Mm.
Don't ask me why. But folk are getting snatched off of airplanes. I don't know if you've seen these latest videos where people are, showing up at airports, finding out that their name is now on the list and they can't fly home.
Hmm.
It's like, whoa, how am I supposed to get home? It's like,
That's right.
I don't know. Ask terrorists how they get home. A lot of them don't plan to go home. That's kind of the thing. They have a one-way ticket. You want to go back to life as normal, and what you're discovering is you can't do that. And the food in prison is not as good as at your mom's house because the Minotaur, the guy who dressed up like a Minotaur,
Hmm.
half man, half
Yeah,
beast.
that's Angeli. What's
Yeah.
his name? Jake Angeli or something like that. Yeah.
Well, Jake lives at home with his mom.
Mm.
And his mom is concerned about Jake because since Jake has been arrested for his act, strolling around in his Halloween costume. Jake has not eaten since he's been in prison. You'll never guess why.
Because he's a vegan.
No, close.
Okay.
The food's not organic.
Yes. That's lovely.
They don't have Minotaur food in prison.
That's a shame. These folk are about to discover what it's like to be black.
I'm putting cases on all of you. Shoe program.
I mean, I say that facetiously, but not, because, a lot of these folk thought they living into their white supremacy and white privilege and figured they could do whatever they wanted to do, say whatever they wanted to say in whatever way they wanted to do it, and they didn't have any repercussions to contend with. And now they're dealing with the repercussions of it, and all of a sudden the big, bold people that were out there demanding that our country be, straightened out and that, had their zip ties because they were going to arrest Congress people, all of a sudden discovering, wait a minute, first of all, they're not treating me right because I'm white. And then the second thing they're discovering is that you don't mess with the federal government. You just don't.
And you would think, and so listen, you would honestly think, given the blowback this week, right, that this crowd would say, all right, look, we're not going to force them to make Donald Trump president. Let's regroup and chill for a minute. But, well, right, but what are they, so what is the response to what happened last week? Let's turn it up all the way. Let's get turned.
Well,
so now,
So it's the Boogaloo Boys that are doing that, though. They're see, the problem is that a lot of these folks are unhinged. It's not that they're just, they just needed a reason. They just needed an excuse to be able to go do something, and they're unhinged. So, because then, even amongst the extremists, there are the super extremists. And it's the Boogaloo Boys right now. They're now talking about going in on to the Capitals armed, looking to shoot people on the 17th.
Well, I didn't see them say that. You saw the part that said they're looking to shoot people?
Well, that's, they're coming in armed and they're planning. I mean, why else are you going in armed?
Well, it's a show of force. I don't think it's necessarily that they want to shoot anybody.
They took guns and assault rifles into the Capitol.
Yes, as a show of force. I mean, I'm just saying, come on now. You can't just, come on now.
I think that they're preparing to shoot people.
No. I mean, that's a big leap, isn't it? I mean, they always parade around with their guns.
Why do people walk around with wrist ties on their waist? Because they're looking to arrest people and hold them captive.
I'm not going to dispute that. But what I'm saying is that's like, I mean, that's why I said, is that what they put in writing? Because in writing, it's just they're going to show up. I mean, so here's my feeling about this. We're dealing with a group of losers, right? I mean, like historical and present day losers. Now, they follow a guy who says he hates losers. Remember, he didn't like John McCain because John McCain got captured in war while he was out partying, and doing only God knows what. But because John McCain in that moment was a loser. But a lot of these folk we're discovering don't have jobs, live with their parents or live with somebody else. And the reason that you carry guns around is because it makes you feel strong publicly, carrying your guns. Now, I'm a gun owner, but I ain't got to walk around with no gun outside because that's not what it's for. It's for defense, right? And so it's, it's just there. Like anything else that you have a fire extinguisher, you don't think much about them until you need it, right? But it's there. You want to make sure it works. And so it's the same kind of principle. But what's happening, I think, is you're talking about people who lost the Civil War, the old lost cause, right? With the standing army. And then you lose the civil rights movement against a group of unarmed church folk, by and large, you know what I mean, who pray your walls tumbling down. And now you feel like you're losing again. It couldn't stop Obama. Now you couldn't stop, Vice President-elect Harris. And so it's just this, but you're losers. You don't win. Tell me the last thing you won. And so, right, so in order to then make up for it and to compensate for it, you walk around the biggest, meanest gun that you can, and you storm around these capitals. But guess what, fellas and ladies who are with, the few ladies who are mixed in there with them, with their guns, you're not going to win this either. Do like
Well,
Trump said, stand back and stand by.
I mean, well, but I think so. And I've said this the last couple of days, so I don't want to keep repeating myself. But this is just the beginning of this. I
Yeah.
mean, this is the same thing that happens when there's an advancement of rights for people of color. The white supremacist movement rises up in an attempt to oppress folk of color. Right? It happens after a Reconstruction. It happened after civil rights movement, and it's happening once again. And so these folk aren't going anywhere. We're going to have to contend with them for a while. So, but I mean, that's okay. We will do what we have to do, and we do every generation because we're a resilient, tenacious, and victorious people.
We are, and that's what I said. We win.
That's right.
I mean, look, seriously, like I said again, in fact, that's what's so infuriating to people, right? In spite of everything historically that has come against us, we still win.
That's right.
Right? We keep winning. And I mean, plenty of white women tried to become president or vice president. Didn't happen. Who gets it first? Kamala Harris.
That's right.
Barack Obama comes out of nowhere. He wins. Doesn't have a silver spoon in his mouth. We know how to win. And that is, let me just say, it's ironic, but not so much really, when you think about it, that the explosive moment that they stormed into the Capitol is as Georgia was announcing that John Ossoff, a Jewish man, would join Raphael Warnock, a black man, in representing the state. That if you were a slave owner in the 1800s, when you wanted to scare the hell out of your Delaware and Maryland and Virginia slaves, you know what you said? I'm going to send you to Georgia.
That's right.
No, massa. No, massa. I will behave. No, don't send me to Georgia, whatever you do. I mean, and that is not hyperbole. That is a fact. And out of the meanest, most racist, vile state, we won. And in that moment, it caused so much rage that what do? They storm the United States Capitol because they don't know what else to do. It made them lose their minds.
Yes. But now on the 17th, they're going to all 50 state capitals to go. And it's the Boogaloo Boys. We should be clear about that, right? It's the Boogaloo Boys that are going to the state capitol armed on January 17th. I know folk have been asking me what we're going to do about it. And I'm like, I'm going to let them go up there and act like a fool. And I mean, I certainly will have some response somewhere along the line. But, these folk are so unhinged because their cult leader is so unhinged that they're just saying and doing anything. I saw Tawanda had posted that she said the Reverend Tracy Blackman, Associate General Minister for the United Church of Christ, had posted that this is like the last vestiges of white supremacy failing before drowning. And I do think that there is some portion of that is happening. But at the same time, there's always that underground remnant that hangs around for a season until it finds a reason to come above ground. It's like a snake. Snakes, stay hidden until they don't need to be hidden anymore, or they need to feed.
But it's always, but they've never, but right. They have never, I mean, listen, they have never gone anywhere, ever. They just haven't. And the problem with Donald Trump is Donald Trump gassed them up and gave them a whole lot of false hope. And that's why people are so pissed right now, because he, again, that's what he does. And they apparently, a lot of folk are just that they don't have the ability to reason. I mean, the first thing you attack is reason, right? Facts and reason go out the door. Logic goes out of the door. That's why they attack the media. That's why they attack professors. That's why they attack universities and institutions of learning, because if you can discredit, factual information, then you can replace it with anything. I'm on my page last night. I'm looking, and in one of the motorcycle groups that I'm a part of on Facebook, and ladies talk about wanting to put Trump signs up, and oh my God, of course, that just turned into a crazy thread. And so a guy is like, look, Biden is the president, et cetera, et cetera. And the person comes back to him like, yeah, a pedophile. Now, we think that is just being a slur. But this guy, in the millions of people who have bought into QAnon, literally believe, I mean, with all of their heart that these people who have now won are pedophiles, that there is a master pedophile ring out there, and that's what this is about.
Right. That
And
was
you cannot,
Pizzagate.
right, and you cannot convince them otherwise in this moment that they're not pedophiles. But again, there's no reason for it. There's no fact attached to it, but they are detached from reason, detached from facts. I don't know how you deal with people like that, quite honestly.
You don't. You just, you let the proper authorities, and prayerfully they're going to be geared up enough and prepared enough. Now all of a sudden every threat that's coming to D.C. is taken seriously. This is. I'm going to do a sermon on that, about when racism hits white people. Right. So when racism hits Congress, because it was racist, the fact that they had the threats, they didn't take them seriously because they were white folk. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, now Congress is overrun. Because if you heard that 5 black people were going to show up at the doorstep, you'd have the National Guard, you'd have the Pentagon emptied, you'd have all these people out there waiting. But it was merely an act of racism that they did not think that goodly white people would go take over the Capitol building. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't know why you wouldn't think that. Because if I take a look at most of the major wars that ever occurred in this country, in this world, it wasn't black folk that started those wars.
Right.
So I don't understand why, that they would think, oh my goodness, these are just good old boys coming on up here to Washington, D.C. just to express themselves, hanging out with Mr. President. No, sir. We are not just going to hang out with Mr. President. We're coming for y'all. And,
coming for your neck.
But it was 5 black people. If BLM in D.C. had put out a post, we're going to have 5 folk outside the Congress, outside the U.S. Capitol, and going to protest this election, they'd had everything out there. But because it was white folk, they didn't do anything special. And that's a problem.
So to your point, I know we're up on a break, and when we come back, want to get your thoughts on this. Do you think that this is going to move Congress now toward some stronger regulation on gun laws? Because, you're right. Republicans have generally benefited, from this side of the House, and both sides of the House got some crazy on it. Let's be honest. But but this crazy side loves to carry guns and shoot, so which gives it a whole different level of crazy. But they've been generally comfortable because they've had their back, and vice versa. But now, if you don't agree that Trump won the election, I'm coming for you. Mike Pence, you're a traitor. They're writing things like Mike Pence should be beheaded. They're saying it out loud. He should face a firing squad. And some of these people are lawyers, right, who are rolling with Trump. And so I guess the question is, January 17th, depending on how ugly it gets, do you think it potentially could have an impact on upcoming legislation, especially with the Democratic-led Congress that's already prone anyway to tamp down and, at least make things more difficult for these kind of events. We got to take a quick break. We're 2 minutes over break. When we come back, we'll continue this conversation. And we did talk a little bit yesterday about the cop who went down from Philly. And trust me, she ain't the only one. She's just the only one who got caught. Because we know how Philly like to roll. Come on, Facebook. We know how Philly likes to roll. That's for Philly PD. That's their kind of parade last week. They probably were leading that daggone thing. We'll be right back. It's the Power Hour. Hit the share button for us on Facebook Live. Bring others in.
I'm Anthony McLaurin. Been denied insurance? Call 888-307-0505. Life insurance, age 0 to 85, no examination needed. Homeowners insurance, any home, any condition, same-day coverage, 888-307-0505. Auto insurance, we can have you covered in 15 minutes. Business insurance, call 24 hours a day, 888-307-0505. I'm Anthony McLaurin. When you need insurance, I can help.
WURD Radio presents the following wellness tip to support our listeners with mindfulness and motivation as we continue to navigate the pandemic together.
Hi, this is Halana, your resident health and wellness coach with tips to help you stay well. We breathe every day and have been doing so since before we were born. But wait, let's think about this for a moment. Something as simple as breathing can enhance our health and well-being. When we breathe mindfully, we slow down, take deep breaths, and activate our parasympathetic system to relax our bodies. Mindful breathing goes like this. Number 1, find a comfortable place to sit still for a few minutes. Number 2, close your eyes and relax your hands on your thighs. Number 3, take a deep breath in and count to 3. Then exhale your breath and count to 3. Do this 5 times. We sometimes think mindful breathing has to be an intense experience, yet even just a few minutes a day can make a big difference. Go ahead and try it today. Stay well with WURD. Happy living.
Stay well with WURD. Connect with us at wordradio.com.
You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent black media.
Welcome back to the Power Hour. This is Dwayne Royster along with Mark Kelly Tyler. We're here Monday through Fridays from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. to bring you the latest in news happenings around Philadelphia and, of course, our opinion. Hey, I just want to give a quick shout out to all the folk that are hitting us up on YouTube this morning. I see Dre Terry out there. Nico Tim is out there, or Nico Tim, I'm never really sure what that is. And all the other folk that are watching with us on YouTube this morning, give us a shout out. Let us know you're here. We want to shout you out and thank you for watching us on YouTube each and every morning. I realized there was a problem yesterday with the YouTube, but I'm glad that you are back with us this morning. Hey, I do want to say that cities across the country are looking into their police departments and their city employees to see if they have gone to any of the rallies. It's not just Philadelphia. A whole lot of cities are doing it right now because there's a belief that a lot of the folk that were down there were either affiliated with the military or the police departments. One of the things that came out was in this particular detective that went down from Philadelphia, she called Pence a traitor after he condemned the violence in an officer's death. So this is the detective Jennifer Guger. She posted on Twitter on Friday that he was a swamp creature and fooled us all. She called Pence a traitor and a cabal operative. Okay, and this is Friday now. This is now not Wednesday, right? This is Friday that she's doing this. If you can support an insurrection in that way, you do not belong on the police department. You should not be a cop. You should be fired. And I'm willing to bet there are other folk that you hang out with in the police department that think and act just the same way. And so I'm deeply concerned. Well, we've known, let's just say, black folk have known for a very long time that this is who's in the police department, right?
No.
It's other folk that we have to convince of this. I mean, what was the, you know this better than I do, the report that came out that exposed all the officers that were white supremacists for social media? I mean, but here again is this situation. Now, if they had gotten rid of her a while ago, Philadelphia Police Department might not have somebody that was down there participating in the insurrection. But because they didn't get rid of these folk, because of Act 111, these folk are now back on the force, continuing to act and operate the way that they do, and embarrassing the hell out of Philadelphia. So
the Plainview Project is what you're referencing,
yes.
And yes, and I'm certain that there are probably a number of people who were a part of the Plainview Project who were in D.C. will probably be out here marching in Harrisburg on January 17th. So
participating in peaceful protests is one thing.
Yeah.
Participating in an insurrection is something entirely different.
Right, and I'm not even saying your protests. I don't like to get into telling people how to protest, because even on the side that we're on, I don't, there are a lot of things that some other people do that I'm just not going to do. Mm-hmm. But that's your business, And so, like, if you want to go to somebody's house to protest, I just don't like it because I don't want anybody coming to my house. But I just look at a home differently. But again, I'm not going to tell you how to protest. But there is a line that none of us can cross. And clearly they crossed that line on last week. And when you are trying to attempt the government from carrying out the responsibilities of the U.S. Constitution. Because see, if you don't have the Constitution, then what is your authority at that point? It's mob rule. It is
right.
whatever the mob wants in that moment. And you can't, you just can't operate that way. But again, they're caught up in the moment. I get it. So, and it's also making apparent and clear that for a lot of these people, there really are no principles. So for as much as they talk about us and our support of BLM and the things that we stand upon, the principles are not conditional, are unconditional, excuse me. And so it doesn't matter who's in office or whatever. For them, apparently, it's not the same case, because for all of the talk that blue lives matter and all of this, man, so the images are becoming more sharp now from Wednesday, and the picture of them beating the hell out of a Capitol police officer on the front steps.
Yep.
It's unbelievable, and they're sitting there wailing on this guy. I don't know how he survived. Officer Sitnick, who died, guess what, Trump supporters? You killed one of your own. He was a big Trump supporter. His social media backsplash is a picture of Trump's airplane from the campaign in 2016.
Oh, wow.
A Capitol police officer who's a Democrat, who was, torn up about Trump winning in 2016, talked about how he, though he had voted for Trump, consoled her and comforted her, because he was a nice guy, but he's a Trumper. And how ironic, you kill a Trump supporting cop.
Wow.
That's what happens when a mob mentality takes over. Reason is gone and nothing can control it. And so you go after Mike Pence. Mike Pence? Who has held you down? Mike Pence.
Mr. Loyalty.
Right. You go after Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham has soiled himself so many times for you, and now he's a traitor because reason is completely abandoned in this moment, and nothing matters except you getting what you want. And guess what? You are not going to get it. Yeah.
Well, I want to change gears a little bit. So, so there were 141 members of the Senate and the Congress that fought against Biden's election, right, including 10 Congress people from Pennsylvania, which we really have to have a conversation about at some point, because they were originally going to protest 5 states. They only wound up doing Arizona and then Pennsylvania, and Pennsylvania got pushed because Pennsylvania Congress people wanted to disenfranchise people from the state of Pennsylvania, which I think is a real problem.
Right.
But here's the thing. So congressional leaders, federal leaders, most politicians live or die based on their PACs, which are political action committees, which is the money that they get to be able to run their races. So now some of America's biggest corporations, which write big PAC checks because of laws, actually corporations can write checks and individuals in those corporations can write checks. Well, now Marriott, Blue Cross Blue Shield, some of these other major companies are like, we are not writing checks to you anymore. And these folk are about to get starved because they were supportive of this, because the corporations understand what black folk understand, which white folk can't seem to understand, that if you were fighting the Biden electoral college vote, you actually caused this insurrection to happen. That it wasn't just Trump. It was all the people that were going to stand up and disenfranchise millions of American voters because they didn't like the win. They didn't like the fact that Biden won the election. And so they were just as much instigators of what happened outside that the U.S. Capitol, as Donald Trump was, as Mike Pence was, as all these people were, that they were part of the problem. So now they're about to be broke, and they're going to have a hard time running their elections. And their own people, the people that backed them, the people that wrote checks, some of the people that mentored them, Hawley's big mentor in Missouri, Senator Hawley was one of the main ones that was out there, like, they are an embarrassment to us, and we will have nothing. The guy that mentored Hawley said, and I quote, he said, this was the worst mistake I ever made in my life backing him.
Yeah.
And people are beginning to understand that there's going to be deeper repercussions, right? I mean, it's one thing to like lose the respect of voters in this country. It's another thing when the people that write you your paycheck, basically corporations. I'm not, though American voters actually pay you, but the people that write the money for your PAC, and some of them have millions of dollars in their PAC. Some of them, those corporations are asking for their money back that they've already given to those PACs. When that begins to happen, that's when real change starts to take place in this country. Because you hit them in the pocketbook, you're hurting them hard. You're hurting them hard.
Well, yeah, I mean, and so money speaks, right? And again, I mean, it's like you have to wonder, it's like, so what's your end game? I get it, right? The first part was you thought you could bully the Congress into doing your bidding. That didn't work. And so now it's like, so where do you go? So after January 17, you realize, well, they're still not listening. January 20, I guess, do you act a fool? Biden is sworn in, Trump is no longer president, and the world keeps moving. And so it's like, what is the end game? There really is no end game. But as you said, people are beginning to put real distance. Bill Belichick, who I can't stand as a coach, who I believe cheated to get a number of his titles, but whatever. And it's not like Bill Belichick is doing this because he's some great humanitarian, but he declined receiving the Presidential Medal of Honor from Donald Trump, citing the Capitol thing. He said, Donald, I kind of like you, but I got this thing that I really like, democracy more. And what you did last week was not cool. I mean, it's becoming untenable to be associated with this brand. And so there is a tearing, but to what end is the question, right? So if you win, what does that mean? You take over what? I'm just telling you, this is really something. And again, this being led by a lot of people who are losers in and of themselves, don't know what to do, should they win at all. And
I want to ask you a question, though. I want to ask you a question.
Yeah.
All right. So, I mean, this is on topic, but switching gears a little bit.
Yeah.
So Jim Clyburn, other people are saying that the House will move towards impeachment this week for Trump.
They passed an article yesterday, right?
Right. There's a possibility that they will hold off on presenting to the Senate, because once the Senate gets the articles, they have to shut everything else down to do the hearing. And so they're saying that they might wait after the first 100 days while Biden gets his administration in place and then do the impeachment trial. What are your thoughts on that, about waiting versus doing it immediately?
I think that you wait until next week when Mitch McConnell is not in the driver's seat, and then you act immediately. Look, as I said yesterday, it's going to be a cloud over the head of the Democratic Party should they wait 100 days, because it keeps Trump alive. It keeps his story alive. And so now it's like every day in the news, it's like, oh, when they get ready to present the articles, the crazies are going to roll back on Capitol Hill with their guns again. Oh, we're going to turn up if the Senate passes this. Rip the scab off. And I know that there's a concern for what Biden wants. And, and maybe this is also a generational thing, because obviously, we're like middle-aged, so we're kind of torn between having a little bit more patience than we had and still being a bit impatient, right? So the Democratic Party is controlled by older people. Almost everybody there is an average age of about 80. Nancy Pelosi, that's right. Steny Hoyer, James Clyburn, that's right. Joe Biden. And so, of course, they're going to be like, look, this will blow over. We need to be about the business. But again, I think, and rightfully so, you asked my opinion, that you just get this over with. Again, rip the hope off. And let's at least end the speculation that they can have him as a lost cause to run again. That's my thought on it. But
you think it makes him a martyr?
It doesn't matter, right? I mean, see, this is what I'm saying. Biden. So he said something yesterday that got my attention. Maybe I got an email from like their inauguration committee, like everybody's getting 1,000 emails a day from them. And so it's like the president-elect wants to focus on healing America. Bro, this country don't want to be healed. The folk that you're trying to go after, forget about it, okay? In the words of like some famous New Jersey folk, forget about it, because they don't want it. You can't heal folk who think you're a pedophile and have been convinced to believe it. They don't want what you are offering. They're going to slap your hand. So I say, don't don't spend your energy on thinking that somehow you can fix them, because the part of the Republican Party that knows that they're wacko, they're already with you. And they are trying to figure out themselves how to fix their own stuff. Do what you got to do. Impeach him now. Finish it. And then go on about your next 100 days and call it a day. And don't ever think about trying to heal that, because that wound has been festering since 1865, and it is going to continue to fester because they are still mad that they lost the quote unquote Great War to keep us enslaved. Speaking of enslaved.
Oh, Lord.
Speaking of enslaved, one of the founders of the Proud Boys.
Yes.
Young white guy, his wife is black.
Oh,
No issue there. I mean, because some of the Proud Boys are weird. They're like the Boogaloo Boys. It's like, whatever. But there's a picture of him that they swear comes out of his house. And someone who I know who posted it on Facebook says it's vetted. And this guy, he's very responsible in what he posts. So, and I take his word for it. This Nick Oches or something. I'm not sure if this is true, but that there's a photo of him floating around with his wife, and a photo that they say came out of his home of him in a Klan outfit holding her, like, as you carry a bride across the stairs, across the threshold.
Wow.
His black wife.
Wow.
And she's smiling in the picture. I mean, if this is true, that's some sick stuff. I hope it's not true, Nick and Mrs. Nick. Why are you looking like that, man? Did that leave you speechless?
Yeah, I mean, I'm like, what the hell? That's not even really what I want to say, but I'm like, wow, just wow.
Tawanda on social says the segues this morning. Snap, snap, snap. Hey, Tawanda, I've been trying to get that story in all morning. I had to make it on ramp for it.
I mean, I'm like, what? Yeah, it's time for a break anyway. Go ahead, man. I can't. Give me a minute. I got to get myself together. On that one. Jeez.
Boy, oh boy. All right. Listen, glad to see everybody on social. Glad to see Bernice, Jacqueline, Robert, Ed. Glad to see you as well. Joe Simmons, Raphael. Glad to see all of you all out this morning. Hit the share button. Bring others in. And let's lighten the mood when we come back. No pun intended. But can we talk about the new light-skinned James Bond and the lighter light-skinned version of Kamala Harris and all the controversy those two stories are creating? Some kind of way, I don't know how I think but they're connected. It's 6:41. We got to take a break. We'll be right back. It's the Power Hour.
Clark Roofing Company has over 30 years of quality roofing experience, providing exceptional customer service, honesty, and professionalism. Clark Roofing is a second-generation master roofer, installing top-quality roofing systems for commercial and residential properties across the tri-state area. For fast, dependable service, call 215-365-ROOF. That's 215-365-7663.
At Social Security, we are always thinking of ways to save you time and make things easier. That's why we created My Social Security. A My Social Security account allows you to access your earnings history and benefits information, request a replacement Social Security card, get a proof of income letter, estimate and apply for benefits, and more. Save time. Go online. Open a My Social Security account at ssa.gov/myaccount. Social Security. Securing today and tomorrow.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
Now, a traffic update
on WURD Radio.
Good morning. This report sponsored by Indeed.com. Schuylkill Expressway westbound getting busy. University Avenue through 30th Street through construction. Eastbound side not bad. Westbound Vine Parkway through the Schuylkill Expressway. Bit of a slow ride there. 95 southbound Cotman to Bridge building. Then again Allegheny through Girard. Northbound no major problems as of yet. Looking in New Jersey now 42 southbound. Right before the Atlantic City Expressway. Watch for delays there. Vehicle fire, the reason, restrictions and crews there. Southbound 42, northbound 42, not bad. 55 northbound Deptford into 42, a bit slow. If you're hiring, you need Indeed. Indeed delivers quality candidates so you can focus on interviewing people with the right skills. Receive a $75 sponsored job credit when you upgrade your job post at Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply. For more traffic information, log on to SIGAlert.com. Jim Bachman with your Philadelphia area traffic.
Now, a word weather update. Here's NBC 10 First Alert meteorologist Bill Henley.
Sunny skies over the next few days and a nice warm up too, up to 44 degrees with bright sunshine today. 46 with mostly sunny skies on Wednesday and partly sunny but still very nice on Thursday, up to 50 degrees. I'm NBC 10 First Alert meteorologist Bill Henley with your most accurate forecast. Count on it.
You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent black media.
Welcome back to the Power Hour. This is Mark Kelly Tyler, along with a very silenced Dwayne David Royster, because...
Cat got your tongue?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
No, Dr. Tyler has a tendency to pull these things on me, and then I sit there looking like a deer caught in the headlights.
Clan got your tongue?
Yeah, so would you just describe to the listeners what you just told me about the picture?
So I didn't realize till I went back and looked at the comments, and I'm trying to find a way to share it. But yeah, apparently she's actually she's without clothing as he's carrying her.
Carrying her in a Klan outfit.
He's fully clothed in a Klan outfit, but she's without clothing.
I think somebody saw on our timeline mentioned that not all white supremacists are white. And some people like being oppressed. I don't know why, but they do.
So everybody's been making a lot about the brother, Jamal is his name. They found out he's from Tennessee as well, who was standing on the balcony of the Capitol in the...
That's the guy who was dressed up. He had the sweater on and everything?
No, this is the dude who had there were a few different black people who kind of who are notable in this. And but my man is standing there looking like he's lost. My favorite meme on it.
That's actually a double entendre.
My favorite meme, yeah, it is no, bro. We say Capitol Grill, not Capitol Hill. Oh my God. Oh, Lord have mercy, boy. This racism is killing me. Oh boy, where's Clayton Bigham when you need him?
I'm sure our progeny, our grandchildren and great-grandchildren will read about this moment in human history and wonder what was going on. What was in the water? I mean, we know it's in the air, COVID, but what was in the water that was causing this to happen?
So check this. And I want to say this one serious thing before we talk about it, because we do need to lighten the mood in a moment. But so I've been thinking about Lee Atwater a lot lately. Lee Atwater, the father of the Southern strategy, that President Reagan rode into victory in 1980, said that in the 50s, you could say N-word, 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 and that would bring people to your base. He said, but by 1968, N-word publicly wasn't really cool and vogue, and you couldn't keep, moderate Republicans on board. So you had to change it. You had to use sophisticated language, you use code words, but everybody knew you said forced busing, you're really saying N-word. You say welfare, you're saying N-word. So when you think about that, Donald Trump has merged two things. He's merged Hitler's The Big Lie, tell a big enough lie over and over and over again till people believe it. Right. And he's taken that and married it with Atwater's Southern strategy, which is they stole the election. Fulton County, Wayne County, which is where Detroit is. Fulton is where Atlanta is, obviously, and Philadelphia City, which is also Philadelphia County, that they stole. Who is they? You know who? N-words. And so it's the Southern strategy with a 21st century twist. So you never publicly have to say N-word, but come on, y'all. We know exactly who we're talking about.
Well, Ian Haney Lopez talks about dog whistle language, right? And that's the dog whistle. It's the dogs hear it. And that's really what they are, is dogs. And so they hear their own language being spoken to them, and nobody else can hear it, but they can hear it very clearly.
Right. Yeah. Well, the brother who was there at the Capitol, he didn't hear it. He doesn't understand what he's there for. As you said, he is lost on multiple fronts. Mm-hmm. So one of the byproducts, obviously, of this moment that we're in and this Black experience in America and throughout the diaspora is the whole notion of colorism. Mm-hmm. And so it's on full display this week. A couple of different things have happened. It's kind of weird that they happen at the same time in pop culture. So Kwesa has finished Bridgerton. Did you like Bridgerton?
It wasn't bad. I didn't dislike it. I mean,
there are a whole lot of Black women that did not like Bridgerton because of the way the Black women are portrayed in there. I just want to let you know that.
Yeah, I think that's kind of how I felt a little bit.
Yeah, Black Twitter had a field day with Bridgerton and the roles of Black women.
Well, a lot of things that Black women liked also, though, was the main star.
Yes, well, they thought he was gorgeous.
Right. So now apparently this brother, what's his name? I don't know the actor's name. Somebody will, about 15 women will probably post it in social in just a second. But anyway, if you remember, the makers of James Bond, the brand, have already decided that the next Bond after Daniel Craig is going to be Black, right? Mm-hmm. And to mind you, props to Craig, man. He brought James Bond back. There hadn't been a Bond that good, in my opinion, since Sean Connery, the late Sir Sean Connery. Mm-hmm. And so there's going to be a tough act to follow. So the logical choice has been Idris Elba, right? Team dark skin. So Idris had kind of had the role on lock. Everybody just knows it's going to be Idris. And, look there, I told you, he's the Duke. The Duke, whatever. They said something French, it don't really matter, but he's the Duke. So,
Regis Jean Page.
Yeah. Okay. Whatever. So Jean is they're trying to knock Idris out to put Jean in. Mm-hmm. And the conversation, so he's a light-skinned guy. So they want to go back to, I guess, the pretty boy image of James Bond, which kind of puts you in the mindset of Pierce Brosnan and whoever those guys were between Sean Connery and Daniel Craig, right? So but again, it's this tension between, these two very different images of these actors, and you know where I stand.
I'm confused.
Team dark skin.
When you said that earlier and you looked at me, I was like, what are you trying to say?
It's been hard enough for us to get these roles. We cannot take backward steps. I'm just kidding. Seriously, but I don't really care, to be honest with you. Who I haven't been watching Bond movies in the last couple of movies. But it does bring up something a little bit more serious, which is the Vogue shoot with Vice President-elect Kamala Harris. Mm-hmm. So they took. So let me say this first and foremost. Anybody out there that is conscious of your image, if you are going to go for a photo shoot, and some of us have done those before, photographers want to put you in all kind of different places, have you wear different things. If there's an image that you don't ever want to be out there, first and foremost, then don't agree to do it. Because once they take the pictures, I don't care what they tell you they're going to do or not going to do. Hey, man, your image is now in their hands, right? So she shows up and they do some casual stuff. I thought it still looked kind of nice, though. She's got the pink and green background for AKA.
Yeah, I thought that too, yeah.
She's got the Chuck Taylors. Then there's one with her with the powder blue power suit on, which looks really dope. She's looking like the Vice President of the United States. That was the one, apparently, that she and her team agreed to that would be the cover of Vogue. Instead, Vogue went with the other cover, which is the more frumpy kind of look. But apparently that's not where the real rub is. Mm-hmm. People are saying that they whitewashed and lightened her skin on the picture that they used for the cover. Have you heard about this?
I heard it. I saw the thing about the cover. I did not hear the piece about her skin being lightened, but it also reminds us of a picture that was taken of Barack Obama some years ago, and they darkened his skin. I don't know if it was Time or Newsweek or one of the magazines that he was on the cover of, and they wound up darkening his skin, and everybody was having a fit about that. So, whatever you do to somebody's skin, it doesn't look real, then everybody gets pissed off about it.
But why would you need to lighten Kamala Harris's skin? She's already light-skinned. She's about as light as you can get.
I don't understand that either. I don't fully understand. I'm not a photographer, though, and so I don't really understand. The backgrounds have something to do with it. Contrast, I'm sure, and maybe I'm just making excuses for photographers, but there are reasons that they do it. I just don't know why they would need to do it. She is what she is, and it needs to stand.
Well, apparently, listen, at some point, maybe we should get Elizabeth Wellington on. She's written about this, and she writes about fashion and social commentary. She does a great job at tying those two things together here at the Inquirer. But apparently, this is like really a big issue, and it's interesting watching like the threads, how people are split between this. Look, she has made Chuck Taylor's kind of her brand.
That's right.
Jumping off of planes, campaigning, wearing Chucks. So I don't think there's really necessarily an issue with that because, again, that's how she's campaigned. That is also part of who she is.
But she's never frumpy.
Yeah, well, and those are my words.
Okay, well, yeah.
I mean, I don't know. She might not have described it as frumpy. I guess juxtaposed to the picture where she's like just in this like really nice suit, looking like she's ready to be inaugurated, it looks frumpy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my personal preference was the more formal picture, and only because she is the first black female, black Indian female vice president. The desire, especially of white folk, to try to make black folk appear casual, is actually kind of a way of demeaning and disrespecting us from the authority and power that we have.
Again, so if you know that though, right? And you're going into a photo shoot, then don't take those pictures.
Yeah. No, I agree.
So if you already kind of know that people are prone to do that, I guarantee this is a learning lesson for her going forward. And her people are going to probably be much more fierce about how they guard her image. Listen, one last thing. As soon as you say the word pretty boy, guess who comes out?
I saw Will Mega. Yeah,
the Kappas.
Will Mega showed up.
Hit dog or holler. Well, I guess that's the Omegas. I'm sorry. But the Kappas. Yeah, I'm feeling something. They got my 1906 shirt on. What you gonna do? Come on, man. You can't stop this. We're the granddaddies making no mistakes. Will Mega shows up talking about pretty boy. Did somebody call? Will Mega for James Bond. I said it first here on WURD. Will, go get your part in Hollywood. Be a star.
All right. On that, we need to end the show. We need to end the show. We'll be back tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. To bring you latest news happenings around Philly and, of course, our opinion. Stay tuned for Wake Up with Word with Solomon Jones. Thank you, Kwesi, for holding us down this morning. Thanks for everybody checking on both Facebook and on YouTube. Appreciate you, Dr. Tyler. Listen, folk, go out, change the damn world, because if you don't, nobody else will. Peace.
Weight on my shoulders, a bullet in